Now, oftentimes, we're going to have to make a few attempts and consider some alternatives of implied premises that are going to get us to the conclusion. It's not going to jump out right in the mind and the paper. Our first stab at it isn't going to be right. It's an art. So we might have to go through several revisions because remember, we're trying to get the best argument we can on behalf of the person who's arguing. And oftentimes, I even stop at the principle of charity because especially if our goal is to get to the truth, am I really concerned with anything else other than seeing if there's a really strong reason for a particular answer that's being proposed to a question? However, when we're studying somebody else's work, another question comes up. That is, the question is, maybe you end up with an argument that's valid and sound, but the question then sometimes comes up is that really the argument the person was giving? So there's another principle that many people who reconstruct arguments consider, and even I consider it when I'm doing the history of philosophy or even looking at a person's view. It's something I call the principle of faithfulness, which just says when you're reconstructing an argument, try to add when you're adding these implicit principles, try to add the principles that seem to be things that the author of the argument, the original author, would in fact say, has said, or are consistent, go along with the kind of theory that he or she is proposing. Now, I would go the step. There's the other step that I go to is that even if it isn't, even if the implied premise, the assumption, that the hidden assumption is something that's inconsistent with what the author is presenting, I'm still wondering if that works, only because I'm worried about getting to the true conclusion. But there's another question, whether you're being faithful, whether you're actually following in the footsteps of the person or in the thought process of the person who's proposing this. So the principle of faithfulness is something that we should take serious consideration of. Nonetheless, the principle of charity alone should probably get us to the right answer, but if the question is this what the person was proposing, we have to take the principle of faithfulness very seriously.